Um, I would like you to, am I putting it in and out? Um, Raise your hand. There is an empty seat. If there's an empty seat next to you, raise your hand. If there's an empty seat, there's one here. There's three here. Families in the back, there's three seats up here. Raise your hand until they're filled. Raise just one. There's one here. Maybe raise how many? We got a seat here. Thank you. Let's try this. Woo. We have one here. And two. Raise your hand maybe with two. I see some people in the back. We have two over here. Two here. Raise your hand. Right here we have three. We would love these. Two. Oh, we have two. We have two right here. And how about over here? We have some seats over here. Two, one. If you don't mind splitting up. I hate to have you stand. There's some over here too. We have one, two. LCA high school boys, if you want to just double check with people in the back, if you want to move up, we appreciate it. Well, welcome. We're so excited you're here tonight. This is our preschool through 8th grade program in the fall. In the spring, the older kids will have are doing Beauty and the Beast. So put that on your calendar. A lot of families are new to our school, or maybe your grandparents are here and they're not familiar. So I'm just going to remind you that we're a classical school. So we study the flow of history on a 4-year cycle. So last year, do you guys remember what we studied? Antiquities, right? Egypt, Greece, and Rome, Old Testament. So the fall program was all Old Testament, and we did the Old Testament feasts. So we like the students to immerse themselves in the time period. We read about it, we write about it, we dress up, we learn all we can about the music and the math. Am I still, is this kind of, am I okay? So it's really fun. And so this year is a big Shakespeare year, Middle Ages, Renaissance. Next year, who knows what we'll be doing? Come on, old families. Nope. Americas. Next year it'll be all George Washington, Lincoln. We do a Civil War ball. And so next year's really fun. And then the 4th year is modern times. And then we start all over again. So save those costumes because we'll come back around to it. And in the spring this year, we'll probably do a Renaissance fair, and Christmas will be very Renaissance-y. And so for those of you new to this, sometimes you can be like, what are they doing? Right? It's okay, just ask, and we'll be glad to explain it. And for those moms, I was going to show you my nice braids. My oldest daughter did that for me. I have 6 girls. I'm Renee Miller, head of school for Liberty Classical Academy. I have 1 boy, 6 girls. So every 4 years, I braided a lot of hair. So when my daughter braided my hair, I marched into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and burst into tears and said, "It's horrible. Can you do it again?" Because I've had years and years of that. So I just want you to know it was like a triggering moment, little payback. It's beautiful. And so, where's Kinsey? Raise your hand. Unfortunately, she has 3 boys, so no, it's funny. And so moms, just a little word to the wise. I would just go, no worries, I'll redo it. Because, their drama does not have to be my drama. Okay, so one quick note about the sound. Last year, we were able to put in more mics, and I'm having problems with this mic. So if you would please mind taking out your cell phone and putting it on airplane mode, because the mics are T-Mobile and Sprint phones. T-Mobile and Sprint phones are the same frequency. So please take out your phone and put it on airplane mode. It will help. So I know it's weird. T-Mobile and Sprint has the same frequency as our mics. So if you get a text, it will cause the mics to cut out. And this is Steve Traver. Give him a hand. Is that? Okay, is that better? All right, so did that sound make you crazy? Yes. So please take your phone out, put it on airplane mode if you don't mind. We have people who took pictures last night. We have people taking pictures tonight. We're live streaming it. It will be recorded. We'll make sure that's available to all parents and grandparents. So I know normally you like to take pictures and record, but if you would do that for us, because we found this out last spring when the mics were cutting out for our Cusco play. We are going to buy new mics, but it's about, 5,000 or something. So that's not going to happen until spring probably. So anyway, thank you. And I think without further ado, our kids are all ready to share with you what they've been learning about the Renaissance, Middle Ages and Renaissance. Thank you.
No, you started. When the enemy comes in a roaring like a flood, covering the kingdom in time of wink of blood, Lord would make us stand up and lead the people on. Lord would come before defeating every foe, defeating every foe. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend us. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend us. Some trust the chariot, some trust in a horse, but we will depend upon the name of Christ the Lord. Roaring is war, and my fingers do fight. The enemies raises us upright, faces us upright. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend us. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend. Some will on my left hand to fight to the right, but we will depend upon the Lord. The chariots down. The Lord compass us with bow, compass us with bow. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend us. For the Lord is our defense, yea, to defend.
I need a sword because I forgot mine.
Good gentles, you are here today to see our humble play. St. George and the Dragon. Enter now, the dragon.
I'm the dragon, here are my jaws. I'm the dragon, here are my claws. I seek meat, meat, meat for me to eat.
Enter the king and princess. He says to rip this land apart if we cannot feed him. This dragon has no heart, and we cannot flee him.
Then feed him, Papa.
Green beans, celery. Green peas and broccoli.
I'm hungry, I'm lost, I must eat a child. Well, hello there, miss.
Oh no, what a mess! You cannot eat your princess! Woe is me, you darling daughter, to be alive and see your slaughter.
Fear not, good king. My life I give to save the land. On heaven's ground I soon shall stand.
Enter St. George.
By God, a beautiful damsel in distress is she. Good day, lady. Good youths, sprawn your horse. Fly away, take another course. This dragon is about to grind me in his dreadful jaws. I will not take one step from here unless I rescue you from fear. My horse, my son, my shield, and I will bring this monster forth to die.
Fight, fight, dragon and knight. Come on, George, use your might.
Now place your belt around his neck. Tame as a dog, he will not hurt his back.
Oh no, he fights not fair. Good night, send him to his lair. Enter, old doctor.
I am the doctor who cures all ills. Just gulp my potions and swallow my pills. I can cure the itch, the stitch, the pox, the palsy, and the gout. All pains within and without. Get up, good king, get up, his daughter. Too good to end in slaughter.
What about Sir George? He lies so still. Save him, sir, from his spill.
Get up, St. George, old knight of England. You wounded the dragon. I'll finish the fight.
And so ends our tales with a round of applause.
In this short scene, Titania, queen of the fairies, asks her fairies to sing her a song to sleep. And while she's asleep, Oberon, who is mad at her, sprinkles her eyes with juice from the magic flower so that she will fall in love with the first person or donkey that she sees upon waking.
Come now, Roundel, and a fairy song. Then for the third part of a minute, hints. Some to kill cankers and musk rosebuds. Some will with three mice for loving wings to make mice small of coats. And some keep back the clamors now, the nightly hoots and wonders of echoing spirits. Sing me now sleep, then to your offices and let me rest.
Hence away, now all is well, when aloof stands sentinel.
What thou seest when thou dost wake, do it for thy true love take. Love and languish for his sake. Be it ounce or cat or bear, pard or boar with bristled hair. In the eye that shall appear, wake when some vile thing is near.
When Prince Hamlet returns to Denmark for his father's funeral, his mother is already getting married to Claudius, his uncle.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
One night after the stroke of midnight, Hamlet saw the ghost of his father.
What should I do?
Revenge my better and most unnatural murder.
Hamlet contemplates killing himself.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
His girlfriend Ophelia returns the love letters he sent to her. A while later, he hears her father Polonius making noise nearby and gets angry at Ophelia for taking part in her father's plots against him.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown.
Hamlet asks some traveling players to put on a play about the murder in front of the king. The king runs from the room, and Hamlet is now sure that he is guilty. Hamlet goes to see his mother, the queen, in her private chamber. While they are talking, he hears a sound behind the curtain.
How now? A rat, dead for a ducat, dead. Oops.
He draws the curtain and discovers not the king, but his counselor, Polonius, who had been spying on them.
O Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
I'll lug the guts into the neighbor's room.
Hearing the news that Hamlet has killed her father, Ophelia goes mad.
There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. I would give you some violets, but they were in all when my father died.
A while later, the queen is the bearer of bad news.
One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sisters drown Laertes.
The king has arranged for a fencing match between Hamlet and Laertes. Hamlet is scratched by Laertes' rapier, which has a poisoned tip. Hamlet wounds Laertes with the same sword. The queen drinks a cup of poison meant for Hamlet. Hamlet kills the king. As Hamlet lies dying, he says,
I am dead, Horatio. The rest is silent.
Good night, sweet prince. Fly to me and be thy best.
You hear about the Capulet girl?
What? Juliet Capulet?
Topped herself.
What?
Dead. Topped herself.
That's terrible. Wasn't she dating that Romeo guy?
The Montague kid?
He must be gutted.
Topped himself as well.
What? A double suicide.
Found her, didn't he? Then went and topped himself. Topped himself when he found her. Grief, you know. Only thing is, she hadn't topped herself at all. Pretended to top herself. Way I heard it, she pretends to top herself. He finds her, then she comes round and finds out he's topped himself. So she goes and tops herself. Only for real this time.
That's tragic, that is.
Proper tragedy, no mistake.
One thing though, why did she pretend to top herself in the first place?
Beats me. I blame the parents.
You hear about General Othello?
The general? No, what about him?
Killed himself with a dagger.
What'd he do that for?
Killed his wife.
Killed his wife.
Killed her, then killed himself.
Wasn't he married to that Senator Brabantio's daughter, Desdemona?
They hadn't been married long. It has to be said the senator was dead set against the marriage right from the off.
I can see why.
Everybody said it was a bad match.
You mean the age difference?
There's that as well. I mean, nobody thought that the marriage would last. But at the same time, who predicted it end up as a murder-suicide? Killed her, though.
Who'd have thought?
Strangled her, then killed himself. He was a great general by all accounts, but a lousy husband. He thought she loved someone else, accused her of it too.
The senator's daughter?
That's what I heard. Killed her in a fit of jealousy. Funny thing though, who now got arrested is Essen, a guy called Iago. You know him?
What? Honest Iago? He's supposed to be a real stand-up guy. What did they arrest him for?
Well, according to this cousin of mine, they say this Iago guy sort of put him up to it.
How do you mean?
Told the general his wife had been dating someone else. Wound him up like, made him do it, even though everybody reckoned she was pure as the driven snow. Still, it's hardly an excuse, though it is. Somebody saying something like that about your wife down the evidence. There was something about a handkerchief. Finding a handkerchief.
What would a handkerchief have to do with anything?
Don't know. This cousin of mine said it proved Iago had it in for him.
Well, somebody told me that about my wife. It did take more than a handkerchief to make me want to kill her.
Well, they say the general had, you know, issues.
Oh, right. Issues.
You know, right?
Carnage. It's the only word for it.
Only word for what?
Elsinore. What happened to Elsinore? The fencing match. Hamlet and Laertes ended in utter carnage.
Thought these fencing matches was just point scoring.
Not this match. Something of a grudge match by all accounts. A lot of bad blood between the pair of them.
Bad blood? What's that then?
Well, this all goes back to when Claudius became king. There was a lot of talk at the time suggesting Claudius might have had a hand in Hamlet's untimely death.
Really?
Talk of poisoning and whatnot.
I see. So young Hamlet would have been...
Added to the fact that Claudius had already accidentally murdered Hamlet's dad, you know, the chancellor.
Polonius accidentally murdered?
I'm not sure of all the facts. There was talk of hiding behind an arras, something about mistaken identity.
Oh, I'm beginning to see the picture here, hence the bad blood.
Hence the bad blood.
Doesn't sound like a carnage, though.
Oh, that's only half of it. There's more. This fencing match was just a setup. Laertes' foil was tipped with poison.
Poison? Again?
It's Brecken Claudius was behind this. Wanted to make sure if Hamlet was nicked, he was sure to die. He also had a bit of a backup plan as well with the poison chalice.
A poison chalice?
What is it with this guy and poisoning?
Only instead of Hamlet drinking from the cup, his mom, Gertrude, takes a gulp, and she gets poisoned. Hamlet, then seeing his mom get poisoned by the drink that was meant for him, he then forces Claudius to drink it.
What about Laertes? He get poisoned as well?
He does.
What? I'm amazed there's any poison left in that chalice.
No, not the chalice. The foils get switched during fighting, and he gets nicked by the poison foil.
All sounds a bit crazy.
It was, but that's the aristocracy for you. And now with half the court wiped out, we've ended up with King Fortinbras in charge.
Fortinbras?
Him and his hordes marched in just after this all went down. Case of right time, right place. So now we've got a bunch of Norwegians running the show.
Well, probably couldn't be any worse than the last lot. There always seems to be something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I was there in the crowd when he made the speech.
Lucky you, I was away that day visiting my uncle.
I hear it was some speech. What happened?
He starts off saying he wasn't there to praise Caesar, just to bury him, because Brutus had just explained to us all how Caesar had wanted to be a dictator and had to be killed for the sake of the republic and all that. But the more he went on, Antony, the more he went on, the more you got the impression, hey, something's not quite right here. He was sort of implying Caesar hadn't wanted to be a dictator and take over Rome at all. Brutus and Cassius and them had just done him in for nothing.
But hadn't Caesar been offered the crown 3 times and turned it down?
Brutus and his pals reckoned he turned it down for show, expecting everybody to say, no, you take it, Caesar. Go on, take the crown, we insist. But nobody did.
Don't know about you, but I sort of got the impression that Brutus wasn't all that keen on doing Caesar in.
He was the last one to stick the knife in. And in his speech, Antony kept on going on about Brutus being an honorable man.
But not as good a speech as Antony.
No, Antony sort of turned the tables on him.
I bet you didn't know who to believe.
I think what turned the crowd was when Antony shows us Caesar's body. Bit gruesome, but a lot of people were moved. And also the fact that Caesar had left all the citizens in Rome 75 drachmas in his will.
75 drachmas? What, even everybody, every citizen?
Mob was really fired up by then. The mood definitely turned against the assassins.
I seem to have not heard anything of those 75 drachmas. What was that all about? That seemed to have gone by the wayside.
And now, of course, we have the triumvirate in charge.
Yeah, like that's gonna last.
Poor man, poor man.
Poor man.
Shylock, the moneylender. Every time I see him, a broken man, shambling around the quayside, all bedraggled and pitiful.
Well, he only has himself to blame. Had he shown just an ounce of pity himself, right up to the end. I was there. Remember, I saw him, dagger in his hand. Antonio's chest lay bare, and him about to extract his tribute. His pound of flesh.
He's awful pound of flesh, remember?
Lawful, maybe, but that's when he tripped up in the end. Letter of the law, pound of flesh. That was the contract. Not flesh and blood, just flesh, no blood.
What did he say, that lawyer feller? Something about if Shylock should spill a hair's weight over the stipulated pound, then all Shylock's lands and goods would be forfeit.
Should have taken the money.
Indeed he should have. Indeed he should have. Twice the debt he was offered. No correction, 3 times. And that's more ducats than you or I will ever see in a lifetime.
What did he... I wonder what made Shylock so determined to get his pound of flesh.
Well, you know, don't you, his daughter, Jessica, turned her back on her religion and left with a Christian nobleman. Can't recall his name, but that sort of soared Shylock's feelings toward the nobleman in general, and Antonio in particular. Antonio himself would never have particularly fond of those of the Jewish persuasion. There was some history between them.
Some history?
They're both moneylenders, remember?
The difference being Shylock used to change exorbitant interest rates while Antonio just lent money casually without making any repayment.
Because he could afford to.
Of course he could, but for the likes of Shylock,
He was the livelihood. Him being a Jew, there wasn't much else he was allowed to do. They both traded on the reality, and by all accounts, Antonio was none too kindly about in his treatment of Shylock, and that's how the refreshment built up. Antonio was none too kind built up.
The loan in question, the 3,000 docs, was given by Shylock to a friend of Antonio's. Can't recall his name, doesn't matter, but Shylock agreed that if his friend couldn't pay the money back, then he would.
But then, here's the twist. Shylock says that if Antonio's friend doesn't pay the loan back on time, then Antonio, instead of covering the loan, should give him a pound of his own flesh. I think it was meant to be a joke.
Peculiar joke.
Well, Shylock wasn't exactly known for his sense of humor. I'm not sure what you'd call acquainted with any of these people. I'm just telling you what I know, what I've heard.
So he didn't get his pound of flesh in the end?
No, he didn't get his pound of flesh or his money.
Joe sort of backfired, losing all his money.
To add insult and injury, as a part of punishment, he was ordered to give the money to his daughter and her husband.
Bet he didn't like that.
Too right, that lawyer fellow really stuck it to him.
Even worse, in order to avoid death penalty, the much put upon Shylock had to convert to Christianity, so the nobleman won in the end.
The lawyer won, that's for sure.
Don't they always?
So broke, humiliated, and shunned by his own community. It's no wonder the poor guy spends all day trudging around the docks. There's a moral to the story, don't you think?
Be careful what you sign up for.
No, it's like I'm always saying, neither borrow nor lender be.
I've never heard you say that before.
I say it all the time. It's a common phrase.
I've never heard it. And anyway, some of us might need the occasional loan now and again, just to make ends meet.
Well, should you ever find yourself in some sort of a ducat or two, then Antonio's definitely your man.
I confess, I do have a sneaking sympathy for Antony.
Not me.
Not after he fled the scene at the Battle of Actium, leaving all them sailors to their deaths.
You've got to remember, though, that Cleopatra, she had him under her spell. Some say she beguiled him with her womanly wiles.
That's why he went scuttling after her?
Cleopatra knew next to nothing about naval strategy. And if truth be known, Antony was not much better. Octavius was all over them.
It was humiliation. It was no wonder Antony went and topped himself.
He would have been fine if he hadn't spent so much time in Alexandria mooning over Cleopatra. Should have been in Rome with his wife.
Still, when you think about it, that triumvirate, that was always going to fall apart. You can't have three people ruling over the empire. Antony, Octavius, and Lepidus. I mean, Lepidus, for goodness sake.
Lepidus?
Exactly.
He was soon elbowed out of the way, which left Antony and Octavius to scrap it out, with the inevitable result.
And where did all that leave Cleopatra?
Imagine what would you do if your boyfriend had just went and killed himself after being defeated by a malicious May-glow maniac with a taste for revenge, and half of your army was left floating in the Bay of Actium. I'd definitely be considering my options.
She had no option, really, did she?
She wouldn't want to be paraded through the streets of Rome, that's for sure. I believe it was a poisoned hairpin.
I heard it was an asp.
A clasp?
No, an asp, a snake. Clasped it to her heart.
It bit her. Sounds rather fanciful to me.
Egyptians, they're known for their strange rituals.
A woman of infinite variety, they called her. Even her death was a performance.
Well, I'll not be mourning either of them.
Even so, we'll not see the likes of them again.
Richard III. Henry VI. The Comedy of Errors and Titus Andronicus.
The Taming of the Shrew and the Two Gentlemen of Verona.
Love's Labor's Lost in One.
Romeo, Juliet, and Bertram II.
A Midsummer Night's Dream. King John and the Merchant of Venice. Henry IV. Poema 2. Julius Caesar and As You Like It. Much Ado About Nothing, Henry V.
The Mary was of Windsor.
Twelfth Night in Hamlet. All's Well, the End's Well. Formash. Charles and Cressida. Othello and King Lear. The other play written by William Whitfield. Pericles, Prince of Tyr. Celine in the Winter's Tale. The Tempest and Henry VIII. The Two Nomo Kingsmen.
Welsh legends.
Ah, there you are. I've been waiting for you.
Today you'll see how a mere boy accomplished what many strong men have failed to do.
I'm sure this is the place Merlin said to meet him.
Poof!
Moon and stars, you startled me, Merlin.
Yes, well, one can't be too careful in these perilous times. I see you've brought the boy.
Step back a little bit. Yes, thank you for agreeing to hide him from my husband's enemies. You are the only one that I can trust to see to his safety.
Yes, the good Sir Ector will take good care of him, and I will be there to see to his lessons.
There you are, Kay. Oh, Fee, thou always findest me first. I thought my disguise would have prevented us from seeing Esme.
Well, maybe it would help if you actually stood next to something the same color as your clothes.
Okay, you are the worst St. George and the Dragon's Pair ever.
Poof! Come, young man, it's time for your lessons.
Assuredly, methinks it is a waste of time to read dusty old books when one can be rescuing fair damsels in distress from wicked witches. Also used in distress. Ha!
The years pass peacefully for Arthur at Sir Ector's. Every day Merlin takes him aside and tutors him, saying, Arthur must prepare for his destiny. No one understands what this means, since Arthur's identity as the son of King Uther Pendragon is still a secret, but they all trust Merlin. Then one day, Arthur's destiny begins to unfold and follow its true path, just as Merlin foretold.
Ah, what a handsome young lad. Let no room to your fortune, eh?
I guess so.
Boy, withhold your hand! This is no ordinary fortune teller, but the sorceress Morgan Le Fay and her evil cohorts, Dragonfly, and Katydid.
What are you up to, you washed-up old wizard? I suspect this farm lad is more than he appears. Perhaps Uther's offspring survived after all. And I, Morgan Le Fay, his half-sister, ought to be the one guiding him, eh?
Begone, you vixen! You will be casting no spells this day. This lad is under my protection.
A pox on you, Merlin. You may have triumphed for a day, but I shall be back and avenge myself upon you and this kingdom.
While Arthur was growing up in his peaceful home, the situation of the island country Britain grew more unsettled and desperate every year. And so it happened that one day, very soon after Morgan and her cohorts fled to plot revenge and further mischief, the Archbishop of London summoned all the knights and nobles for a grand tournament.
Thomas, I hope and pray this tournament will encourage the lords of the land to cease their quarrels and finally agree to choose a new king.
Yes, Father. Ever since King Uther died, the Rouse had done nothing but fight among themselves, while the Saxons were at grow stronger, each passing fortunes.
Oh, how won't this be grand? I shall unsee every connect and win the favor of Lady Ugain. Come, come, also, as my squire, you must need to keep up. In London, a wonderful and mysterious miracle occurs in the churchyard. One morning, a great stone suddenly appears. Upon the stone is an anvil, and into the anvil is thrust a magnificent sword.
Whoso pulls out this sword from the stone, Anvil is the rightful king of Britain. Everyone still has a chance to draw the sword after the tournament has been conducted.
My first tournament? Arthur, my sword, where is it?
There's still time. I'll go back to the inn and bring it to you.
Hurry, I can't be without a sword or I'll be disgraced. Arthur hurries back to the inn, but finding it locked, remembers the sword in the courtyard, and finds Morgan Le Fay, again in disguise, standing by it.
Go ahead, Lord. All the guards have gone to the tournament, and nobody wants this whole thing away. I knew it. I knew he was the one. This boy is the rightful king of Britain. I've seen all I need to see.
Poof! If you think you control Arthur and his destiny, you must first overcome my powers. Chicken!
Crazy just
Hang up!
Good job. Crazy jumping jack.
Frog!
Where should I put my key? Wait. Okay. Gather on the stone. Okay.
Okay, I couldn't get into the inn, but here's a sword.
Well, it's about time. Look here, 'tis the sword from the stone. Watch this. Behold, lords, ladies, archbishop, knights of the realm, I have withdrawn this sword from the stone, and by decrees, I'm the rightful born king of Britain. No way!
There's nothing for it but to see this thing for ourselves. Place the sword back in the stone. Withdraw before these witnesses. I'm so sorry. This is all my fault.
Hush, boy, don't bother the archbishop.
No, let me hear this, lad. Tell me, why is it your fault, young man?
Well, Kay left his sword at the inn, and I'm a squire, so I ran back to get it, but the inn was locked, and so?
Yes, and so?
Well, I remember seeing the sword, and since no one was using it, I thought it'd be okay if I brought it to my brother.
You mean?
Yes, I took it. I'm so sorry.
Do you know what this means? Lad, can you put the sword back in the stone?
I think so, sir.
And pull it out again?
Yay!
My crown. What?
Will I be a good king, Merlin? Yes, Arthur, you will be a good king. I do not need to look into the future to tell you that.
You must stay. There's so much I need to know. I need you to advise me.
I will stay here as long as my destiny permits.
I won't ask you what that means. You and your riddles.
Wait till you hear this. I have an idea for a round table.
So ends the story I wanted to tell you today. Of course, Arthur went on to have other adventures after he was king, but that is a story for another time. Perhaps we should meet again someday, and I can tell you more about those long ago times. Until then, whenever it shall be, I bid you farewell. Poof!
Guys, I know. I'm just.